Welcome back to the Dota 2 International West Qualifiers. James, you're a bit different.
Yes,
How are you doing?
I grew my hair out again.
Yeah, it looks good. So Wepas will be hosting with me today. Now, James will be with Andy commentating. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Good. I'm ready to go. Ready for the next match. By the way, that sweater is huge on you, Wepas. You look like you're wearing a poncho.
He's gangster.
It's like medium.
He's gangster.
It's so big
how
on
is
you,
it?
though.
How is it?
Yo.
It's just because we look so big in this shot.
We should
Yeah,
get
that's
good
the thing.
studio ponchos. I totally wear a poncho around.
I mean, I'm Argentinian. It
That would be
fits.
nice.
You're amazing.
That's what I'm here for.
Argentinian ponchos. Anyways, we're going back with game 2, which will be the last game of this Group A. It's Absolute Legends versus Rockskis. But first, let's take a look at the brackets to see what led us here.
If you haven't seen them enough already.
Yeah, just in case you weren't
Just to make
watching
sure.
the last 40 minutes. So Rockskis lost versus Absolute Legends the first game. Very good play from Absolute Legends, especially with the Slar pick from Miguel.
Yeah.
DD pretty much stomped their way into the first match versus Empire and then fought against AL again. Rockskis now today played against Empire and played really, really well.
Yeah, they really played their own game once again. It felt like against Absolute Legends, they just tried to pick around what AO wanted to play instead of just going for a normal Roxas lineup like they did today against Empire. So great play today. And like you said, they're going to move in against Absolute Legends. And this is another make or break match.
This is really important. The winner goes on to the next stage. The loser goes home and has to wait until TI4 to get another chance of getting into $1.9 million of prize pool. But before the match, we have a special interview.
Yes.
We've been talking with some guys during the break, and we have next to us, actually next to us in essence, because they're definitely not next to us physically, two players from LGD International. One of the teams qualified for TI3. And we have with us Thivan, 1437, and Per, our friend Pycat.
Yes.
Well, hopefully they're here. We're going to call them
Hopefully.
right now.
We're in charge
call
of the
them and
calls
say-
here. We're the
Yeah.
call center. And Andy's calling them out now.
I double-checked, asked if they were there. Apparently, they're not actually.
They're really busy right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pycat's doing his hair for a phone interview.
It wouldn't surprise me, actually. I mean, if you've met him, you would understand.
That's the good thing about these new phones, you know, you can actually use them as a mirror, I reckon.
Yeah.
Before he picks up, he probably has got like,
Like a,
he holds it in front of him and just makes sure his hair's okay, and then answers. But I'm surprised he's taking this long, because I assume
Yeah.
Pycat's hair's always okay.
Always okay.
Even when he wakes up in the morning, it's just like perfectly maintained all the time. I think he
Yeah.
wears like one of those hairnets to bed.
Probably.
Pick up, Thivan. Pick up, Pycat. Hello.
He was here like a minute ago.
I have a plan B if everything goes wrong.
All right, let's go with Plan B. Cause
Okay, let's go with...
They spoke to you, right, in Skype?
Yeah.
Well, they didn't speak to me. They spoke to him.
But what are they saying in the channel?
They haven't said anything. Look.
Well, I told him, add
He
Pycat
added
here,
me.
and he added Pycat.
Oh,
so
okay, okay.
It's like,
Alright.
intrigue. Will they pick up?
Reliability.
Maybe they just fell asleep.
Or are we just lying?
Maybe they were kidnapped by
Maybe
aliens.
we have to, maybe they're talking to their agent.
What?
LGD's agent. You know, they're talking to their agent. Can we pick this phone up?
Let's see.
Maybe they're in a lot of debt
Maybe.
over in China.
They've been
'Cause
oversleeping
hair
too
products
much.
are pretty expensive over there,
Yeah.
as well as nightlife, and they're in a huge amount of debt. They haven't won enough prize money, and they're scared to pick up a phone call that doesn't have a number on it.
Maybe
'Cause
they're
it could be
just
their debt collector.
maybe they're just trampled by Asian girls wanting
Yeah.
to be with them.
Oh.
Okay, so they
How
are.
do you find a phone under 20 Asian girls when you know it's sit down your bed?
Shall we, bro?
It's a big
Let's go
problem.
from
You look under the underwear.
proper friends.
What? In her number in.
Yes,
It makes sense.
it makes sense. Okay, so someone's speaking. Someone's saying something. Hey,
Oh,
sorry,
apparently
Sam,
they're
there you go.
having
Go again.
So the whole.
Let's try again.
As soon as the call stops, they
Hold
both reply.
In before no pickup.
Wait for it.
This is all on you,
Hey.
bro.
What up?
Yo, how are you? Can you hear
What
me?
up? What up? Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Hello, Pycat. I can't hear Pycat.
Pycat, he can't hear you.
Just use the same
Okay.
mic. You
Yeah,
guys.
it's fine. I'm talking to you. 1437, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good.
Great. Have you been watching the Western qualifier so far? Is that...
I have. I actually have.
Wow.
Just
How do you turn on the lights? Yo, motherfucker, you just destroyed my keyboard. How do you turn on the lights?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I have been watching the Western qualifier actually.
Mm-hmm. So, are you surprised that Empire was the first team to leave the qualifiers?
To be honest, I wasn't so sure how well AL has been playing, but I knew the potential of Rox, Kiss, and DD, so I can't say I'm surprised at all.
Great. Yeah. So now after that game, it comes the final game of Group A. Sorry, we have AL and Roxkiss. But I will not ask the easy question of who you think is going to win, but rather I will go somewhere different. You've
Okay.
seen that AL has been playing the Slark, right?
Uh-huh.
Have you been playing Slark at all in your
Um,
scrims?
In our scrims, actually, no, we haven't played against or with Stark at all. But I think this hero is very interesting, and I'm sure that in the near future we will practice it.
That's interesting. Do you see him playing always mid, or do you think it can be played as a safe lane solo or something different?
Well, that's the problem with these heroes that haven't been used so much. You just don't know what kind of position they should be in, or where to actually lane these guys. But I think mid is okay against some melee guys, but I think he will have some problems against range heroes.
Yeah.
But I think he could be played in the safe lane too.
Interesting. Okay, so going a little bit back to you guys. Tell me, what are you currently doing in China? Are you just, as I said before, being trampled by lots of Chinese girls wanting your autographs and something more? Or are you training all day very, very hard?
To be honest, I think it's more of the latter. We have been training very hard lately, especially since this new tournament is coming up. But Pycat and Rasmus, they get trampled all the time.
That's because he's small though, isn't it? It's easy to trample by a cat.
Yeah, I guess.
Like-
Sorry. So, what tournaments do you have coming next? You're participating in the Perfect World one, right?
Yeah, that's DSL, I believe it's called. We'll be playing in that on the 23rd, I believe, against Orange. That will be the first tournament.
That's an interesting matchup. Orange always a hard team, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think this time we're going to be a bit more prepared.
Great.
And it's going to be a good game.
Pycat still doesn't have a mic, right?
No, it's still not working. So for some reason his Skype or his headphones aren't working.
I wanted to ask 1437.
What's up?
Bruno ignored the easy question. I want to make his question that he ignored harder.
Okay.
Rox Kiss versus Absolute Legends. Who's going to lose and why, rather than who's going to win? Who's going to lose and why out of this matchup? Who's going home and what aren't they bringing to the table?
Oh, Rox, Kiss, and Absolute Legends. Okay, to be honest, I think I watched the first time they played Rox, Kiss, and Absolute Legends, and I think in all these games, Rox, Kiss had some kind of advantage, and they played much better like a team, but they were too impatient. So unless they fix that problem, they're probably gonna the same result will repeat. But I think they're a good team, and they'll probably win this. So that's why Absolute Legends will lose.
Okay, so all right. Overall, in the whole, we want to talk about the Western qualifiers as well, because obviously you guys have got your invite. I think you got it last as well, didn't you?
Uh-huh.
Were you sweating when you weren't on the list for a while?
Not really.
Not really. Not it.
That's a shame. I'm sure Iceberg would have enjoyed to make you sweat a little bit. But who do you think from the Western qualifiers are going to potentially be the top two and why? Obviously, we're in Group A. DD Dota is a choice that you now know you have. So you've still got 7 teams to pick from, with Group B being Mouse Sports, EG, IC Cup, and QPAD Red Pandas. So who for you is the two teams that will get to the international from the Western qualifiers?
Well, in my TI book, I wrote EG and DD. That will be the two teams that will end up going to Seattle, and I think there are two other teams that I think have a really strong chance, and that would be Q Pandas and who was the other guys?
Mouse
I
Sports?
told you. Oh yeah, Mouse Sports. That's it. But as I saw recently of the teams playing, and I actually got a chance to witness some of the practice that they played too, like DD and stuff. They didn't play any tournaments, but I got to see some of their scrims. So that's why I'm saying that DD and EG will probably be the two teams.
Okay.
Interesting.
We want to also just mention the Eastern qualifiers before I throw it back to Bruno, because you guys now must know these teams the best in terms of like your knowledge when we come to talk about this prediction. You might just say LGD China just because you know them really well with the current changes that they had. But who are your favorites for the Eastern qualifiers that will be hosted by BTS next week?
For me, it would undoubtedly be LGD because recently they actually lost to VG in the Super League. And since then, I think they've gotten much more serious about all these games and how they're practicing. So come time for the qualifier, I think they're going to be absolutely ready for this. And the second team, I would have to say, would be Rattlesnake. It's really close between VG and Rattlesnake, but I'd give the edge to Rattlesnake because of their unique ways of drafting and playing.
Okay, so
It's much more different than all other Chinese teams.
oh, that's interesting. So how are you guys doing over there in terms of your performances lately? Not to go, obviously I know you're in scrims and you don't want to go too much in it, but how do you feel how far you've come along compared to where you used to be in the Western scene? If you could say that without sounding too arrogant.
Wait, could you repeat that again?
How do you feel that you've come along as a team now, comparing yourself to where you used to play with the Western teams, now that you've had a really good amount of, kind of...
Are you
influence
better
on
because
Eastern
you are
Dota?
in China?
Yes.
100% for sure.
All right. If you were in the
I
Western
am definitely
qualifiers, would you drop a map? I don't want to ask you these questions. I'm trying to make you sound really arrogant, 1447.
In the West, probably. I mean, I think all these teams in the Western qualifier, they have some really cool strategies, some pocket strategies like Ursa's and all these kind of things. And it's actually really easy to lose to those kind of things. So I would not be surprised if we were playing in the Western qualifier to lose a game or anything like that.
All right. Well, yeah, it's nice of you to mention that because it's really where the kind of quality of games have come from the Western qualifiers. So Bruno, unless you've got anything else?
Yeah, I want to wrap up with one last question, which is something that everyone, players have been asking me, fans have been asking me as well, which is, you talked about LGD China, VG Gaming and Rattlesnake being the top three teams in the Eastern qualifiers. And you talked about DD, EG being the top two at least in your opinion, in the Western qualifiers. Now let's say two of these teams will have to face each other in the wildcard match in Seattle. Do you think the East qualifiers teams are stronger or weaker than the Western qualifiers teams? Because, I have to be honest with you, and before I let you answer, which is people are saying any of the Eastern qualifier teams can beat all of the Western qualifiers teams. Is that true?
I wouldn't say any of the Eastern qualifier teams, but I think the Chinese teams participating in this qualifiers can probably beat beat all the teams in the West qualifiers.
At the same
And
time.
and that's the truth. In my opinion.
Interesting. So for those of you who are following and filling the compendium, remember, when you get into that wildcard match, vote for East. Anyway, thank you very much for your time here. I know it must be super, super late, but you probably will stay up late and watch this last match, won't you?
Actually, I will
Yeah.
probably end up watching this.
No problem, Bruno. No problem.
Yeah, Pika says no problem.
Great, thank you, Bycat.
How's Pycat's hair looking for 1437? Is it okay?
His hair, yeah. I think in the beginning I didn't like it, but I think it'll just grow on you.
Brilliant.
That's just Pycat for you.
That's just Bycat for you.
All right then, guys. Well, thanks for coming on and giving us your thoughts. It's really interesting to see what some of the players have to think about the Western qualifiers. Since you're on the show and we've got a lot of people watching, anybody's not familiar with LGD International, you should be. But unless you guys want to, you can, of course, just plug anything you want and let people know where to find you.
You can find me at LGD1437 on Twitter. And I actually don't have a Facebook page, but sometimes I tweet. But from China, it's a little bit hard. But thanks for having me on the show. And it was nice talking to both of you again.
Yeah, we look forward to seeing you
Yeah.
at the International. So thanks for coming on. See you later.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Well, that was 1437. Pretty interesting things he had to say, especially I really like this. Nowadays, qualifier teams can beat the Western qualifier teams, especially the Chinese ones. It's going to be interesting. I mean, if anything, it builds a story like when that wildcard match happens.
Yeah.
If last year a Western team could beat the Chinese team, that time it was Mouse Sports versus World Elite. Who says this time the same thing can't happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to see. The Chinese teams, I feel, at least the ones that will come into as a wildcard team, probably will be more experienced. Since he said, we got Rattlesnake, VG, LGD China, all those teams are like super strong. And if any of those are the wildcard games, it's going to be really hard for the Western team to be able to qualify and get the last spot. So it'll be very interesting once we get to TI, of course.
It is going to be very interesting, but for now, we're heading into the last match of Group A.
Yeah.
James.
Yeah, no, I just want to mention, like, last year, Mouse Sports versus World Elite. World Elite weren't playing Dota 2.
Neither
were.
were like Mouse, to be fair.
Well, Mouse were playing Dota 2 actively and then weren't playing
They just hadn't
closer.
practiced.
World Elite were actually only playing Dota because they were competing in Dota tournaments. So the difference in terms of how that game played out was, Mouse Sports got the better of it. I think this year around, every team turning up as the international grows in terms of skill and team and player pool, it's going to be one of the hardest spots. Like coming out of this Western qualifiers, you do not want you want second place just for the chance to go, but you do not want second place in another way because it's only one game you get to play potentially at the whole tournament.
Yep.
But yeah, we're going to go into the game. We'll be starting the game in
wait.
3 minutes time.
We're going to introduce.
Yeah, but but if you let me finish my sentence,
Is
I
it
would have
going
said
to-
we're going to be starting the game in 3 minutes' time. So we'll do some intros now with Bruno, and then we'll come back and start the game, rather than just freaking out, Trans going stats. But I'm just telling you, you've got 3 minutes, Bruno. All to
Yes.
yourself. Now
Do you know what I can do in 3 minutes?
Okay. Jesus.
well, now you've got 2.5. Okay,
It's gonna be tough.
We're going to have to cancel one of the girls.
Okay.
We'll tell her you're tired,
Yes.
but it's fine.
My head hurts.
Yeah.
Had the flu. Anyways, let's go and introduce the teams. Okay, Wepas, why don't you do AL first?
Yep, of course, for AL side, we've got Unicorn XOXO playing the carry, Miguel playing mid, off lane, Mania is playing that, so we actually changed the overlay so it looks correct. And then we, of course, got Miracle as well as Rice playing the supports for AL.
I want to add here that yesterday, after the games were over, AL's manager was talking to me on Skype and saying, haha, I'm sure you got them all wrong in terms of positions because the guy from AL changed positions quite a lot as well.
Yeah.
So next we have Rockskis, which we know because we've seen them before, but let's go again at them. We have Carry, it's BZZ Perfect, the guy that does all the first bloods with gyrocopters. It's incredible.
He's gonna
Like-
win that companion spot with the first bloods.
I'm sure he filled that compendium and he's doing it on purpose
Yeah.
right now. He also bought the rapier. Was he? Yeah, he bought the rapier at the end of game 1 after they called GG just to have the rapiers.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
A companion player. So solo mid, Dread the fan favorite from Russia. I really like this guy. I mean, I have something to show you later about this guy going into the offlane. And the supports Vanskor and Yol. Let's not forget Vanskor played this wonderful Ruvik in Game 2 versus
And Bane
Empire.
in Game 1.
And Game 1. Well,
He played Bane.
yeah, we
but
played
it was
Bane on
amazing
yeah,
there
exactly.
as well.
So very, very strong performances from Rockskis today. Will they be able to repeat against AL? I don't know. You don't know. We'll have to resort
have
to
to see.
stats. And stats, give us the answer, please. We have Rockskis versus Absolute Legends. Very similar these teams in terms of record. Rockskis is now 38 wins, 38 losses with a perfect 50%, while Absolute Legends is 58-57, 1 win ahead. So, do they have the upper hand? I don't think it's enough to actually tell. They are the 1%, Trans. They are the 1%. They face each other 6 times, actually 6 games. They won, of course, AL won 2-1 in the TA3 Western Qualifiers yesterday. But in the EMS Cup, in the finals in Katowice, I always say that wrong, Poland, Rockskis won 2-0. And also they played in the Star Ladder 5 where Rockskis took the win 1-0. We'll see. I'm sure we will not see any Slark this game, and without Slark, that poses a question.
It'll
Is
probably be first ban these games because Roxy's really had a problem playing against that Slark, and Miguel on Slark just did so much in the games they played yesterday. So
And just as I said, my 3 minutes are up, and all I can do in 3 minutes is incredible. So now we're heading into the game. Andy, are you ready? Are the players ready? Is
Yeah, but
everyone
we're
happy?
ready in just a second. All the players are ready, just waiting for a logo to be set, and we're going to be getting into the game here in just a minute.
Yeah, so we just started because we're ahead 6 minutes.
Yes.
So we just started on time. So the match will start exactly at half an hour past. So normally we've been starting the games on time, but either way, both teams are ready. No reason to wait. No one wants to wait for this game. The players have been sat in the lobby for a good 10 minutes, eager to go. This is what they prepared for. This is what they've, everything's been built up to. It's 1 best of 3. Winner moves out of Group A in second place, and then everything's kind of reset. You start on the upper bracket again, if you can call it that. You can lose twice, and the loser, unfortunately, will be going home. Absolute Legends, almost a Cinderella story yesterday, will have a real, it's 1 best of 3, so they don't have a map advantage, even though they already beat Rockskiss, which sometimes can put them at a disadvantage, because Rockskiss are going to readapt, and Rockskiss are eager to play as good as they did versus Empire. And I think if they do, similar to 14-37, Rockskiss have the edge for me.
I'm kind of on the same page with you. That match they lost the other day, Rockskiss weren't really playing like Rockskiss to me. They were playing this kind of spread out skirmish style of Dota that I don't really feel like fit them that well. They have this really nice style of just assuming total map control from a team. They get a lead and they stay ahead. That is standard Rockskiss style. They love their aggression against AL. Maybe they were just caught off guard by the Slark. Maybe they just weren't prepared for it. But now they know what Miguel can do with that hero. They're not going to let it go again, and they're certainly not going to give it to him. So regardless of what ends up happening, looks like we're going to be having some
Yeah, apparently
some
someone
issues.
needs to restart there.
Yeah. So we're going to have to rehost a lobby really quick. Actually, we might be able to wait it out. Never mind, 15 seconds. Yeah, definitely going to have to remake.
Oh god, I've got to enter the password on a Swedish keyboard, haven't I?
Yeah, I tried to do
It will
that.
save. It will save.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, we're going to have to rehost the game really quick, guys. It shouldn't be more than a minute or so. But in terms of the overall game, I have to favor Rockskiss too, similar to you. But I mean, how many times have we said that and then AL just surprised us?
Yeah, well, that's the big factor of AL. Some of their just personal performances have been really, really strong.
Yeah.
Individual
Sorry, I'm
players.
facing away, but I'm the one doing all the lobby hosting. So
That's
it's
okay.
like-
I'll talk to my screen as well. I don't know if you know Monitor, but AL are really good.
All right, so apparently it's here now. The lobby is still
Relationship.
actually hosted. You gotta.
Huh?
you
Oh,
gotta-
whoops.
The top, no? Yeah, there you go. Okay, good. All right. So let's try this again. It's attempt number 2. Everyone is ready to go, and hopefully there will be no more Dota connectivity issues. So
No,
getting in.
everything's going really smooth lately.
Yeah.
Anyway, with in terms of the players, everyone seems to be well protected.
I like
which is
that.
Good.
Protection is very, very important for those of you who don't know.
Yeah. Always wear an armored suit.
Every single time. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, you just should have one in your wallet at all times.
But yeah, the game is actually hopefully going to be loading this time. No one said anything otherwise. And yours is actually not particularly... I wouldn't call that loading the game. Maybe just hit the down arrow, the top left. Bam.
Pilat is saying that the co-caster didn't join the game.
Yeah, me. You didn't let me join in time.
No, you were still in the lobby because I didn't even rejoin the game.
Oh, I don't see what you see.
It's Dota magic.
Huh?
The X top right. And reconnect.
There you go. Now you should be loading in the game. Yeah, because what happens
Nice
is
script.
if you host a lobby,
It's Griff.
if you host a lobby and then it doesn't
Yeah,
start
right.
the first time, what you have to do is you have to completely exit that game and then rejoin. So there you go. You're going to be loading in, hopefully. But you're actually in the game now, and it's still not loading, so it looks like maybe somebody else isn't loading.
Doo-be-doo. Yeah. Oh,
Everyone
I'm not very
says-
good at talking right now.
No, it's
because
fine,
I'm-
because it's
I'm-
like-
I'm adamant to get that door closed.
I know,
It's
you keep
really
like
cold.
looking over there.
Yeah, I am like, my feet are freezing. Go. Scriff? No, Scriff, you won't be seen on camera if you go really fast. Oh, what was that breeze? Ooh, did you feel that?
It was windy in here,
Probably
actually.
the door.
Yeah.
Probably. I can't say for sure, though. I think it just closed by itself. That was weird.
But, well, either way, I feel better.
Yeah, well, somebody's not connecting to the lobby, so we're going to have to do another rehost really, really quickly. I'm just going to completely remake the game this time. So we're going to just create a whole new lobby. That means you guys are going to all have to rejoin. Make sure everybody gets in the
Can I
slots
click reconnect
properly.
again?
No, just leave the game because they're making a whole new lobby because it wasn't...
Whole new lobby.
Yeah, it's a whole new world, James.
Whole new
So we have to wait for
lobby
everyone to get inside again, so we're going to have a couple of minutes to talk about this matchup. But for me,
to play Dota.
Ale versus Rock's Kiss,
Yeah.
I mean, this is it. This is it for them. They got nothing left. This is the very, very last in what could be a long and uphill battle. Even if they win this, they got a long way to go before they're going to be able to get to TI3, but it's like, this is where you have to start it.
Yeah. I don't think anybody set themselves a milestone as in, we need to win it when they saw the groups. They were like,
Yeah.
win the group,
One game at a time.
focus on every team in that group, and then you've got, if you're Group A, you've actually got 2 days where Group B will play, so you can actually readjust, you know one of your teams, you can watch Group B, and then you can kind of focus on the last 3 days of the qualifiers, which will be the playoff stage and also the grand finals if you make it there. So everybody's just like, everything goes onto this group. And
Yes.
this is why it's, even though the guys are sat at home, it's an online qualifier.
Yeah.
It still has the kind of feeling of prestige of like already some of the LAN tournaments that have happened this year, just because we heard from DD they boot camped. We know that Cupid Red Pandas are boot camping. We know that EG are boot camping. Like everybody's getting every single advantage they can to be able to win this.
Well, I
And,
think this is the only time really where almost every single team actually boot camps. So you get the situation where everyone's going to be on top of their game. Everyone realizes what's on the line. It's probably going to get to 2 million prize pool before the Western qualifiers even end, if it stays at the rate that it has been, because it's roughly
That's a fair
anywhere
point.
from 30 to 35,000, I think, every single day that the prize pool goes up. So by the time this is over, even more money going to be on the line. Of course, it's more about the prestige and being able to say we're the best. Sure, the money is really nice, but it's, we are the best at what we do. So looks like everybody's actually inside the lobby, and I believe good to go.
Trance is micromanaging from his production desk. He's going,
Yeah.
slots, everybody in there.
Yeah, everyone's good to go. Everyone's in their slots. So both teams said they're ready. Let's give it another shot. This is the third time. Maybe the third time is going to be the charm.
Yeah. Building up the tension here.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's good.
I'm already tense for these teams. Like, I'm nervous for them, and I'm not even playing in the tournament because it's like,
It's just like this game, if you have a bad performance, how is your team going to forget it? I know, like, as a team, you don't point out at somebody and go, this whole match was, but you do not want that on your shoulders. So this is really what separates the best competitive players from good competitive players, being able to play under this much pressure, being able to bring out your A game, because you can take advantage of players with less experience. This is why we talked a little bit about Empire and Scandal and Light of Heaven, that we thought they were going to bring a lot to the table. They did, but just because of their experience. So excited to see both these teams play. I think Absolute Legends do have some great experience on their team, as we've mentioned before. Rock's Kiss just look very solid, but they have to play their game. They have to control the draft. They have to control the lanes that they want. Is Absolute Legends going to give it to them? Well, we don't know, but already you can look at the bans and picks, and you see Slark has been removed from Rock's Kiss. So this is where we go to AL and go, well, what do you have left?
This is the time to pull it out. So Absolute Legends, they're going to be up against a first pick Gyrocopter. Whenever Roxkiss get that opportunity, they take it. I'm pretty sure 9 times out of 10 they first pick this. They're even taking it over heroes like Magnus, over Nyx. In this case, of course, we saw the Lone Druid also banned out by Roxkiss. We saw Unicorn the other day have a fantastic game on that hero. You don't want to give him the Lone Druid because experienced Lone Druid players are incredibly annoying to play against because they can get so much out of even the most bleak of situations. So 2 more coming out of Absolute Legends right now. What are we thinking?
I'm thinking, like, my obvious choice is Nyx Assassin.
5 seconds
'Cause-
remaining.
Okay, got a Lifestealer first. That's obviously a carry that is making a big appearance here, or at least recently as well in Dota.
Yeah.
It's such a solid carry. But I think Nyx would be a great option. It's obviously you're going to be up against a BKB gyro at some point in the game, but even flat cannon it does help with. But it's a great support as well. And if you can get the lanes how you want them in terms of make sure he gets some of his levels, either pulling or having a decent kind of run in the lanes in terms of kills and results. Nyx Assassin can really shine and make it very hard for people to feel safe farming, which is obviously what a gyrocopter wants to do. So I actually like the fact that Roxkiss have banned out the Lone Druid and the Slark, the 2 heroes that have been played together by Absolute Legends, and they went for the Gyrocopter first. I feel that this actually works in favor of Absolute Legends to start with, and I think that they're like, we've got so many options right now. This is why it's taking such a long time. I'm sure that they might want a Darkseer. You know, being able to have that hero is a very high impact hero for them. They might want a Nature's Prophet, but they're actually just going to go for a Shadow Demon. So-
Shadow Demon, obviously the make of a great aggressive tri-lane, if you want to do that. Although in the past, at least today, we've seen a Lifestealer tri-lane not do so well against heroes like perhaps Clockwork or even the Gyrocopter himself, just because of how much harass you can actually do to the hero in lane by virtue of flat cannon and such. So depending on what Roxkiss want to go for here, this is going to be like, are they going to go defensive? Are they going to go aggressive? Lifestealer, Shadow Demon,
10
you're
seconds
expecting that
remaining.
to be in a position where you can just go for kills. But they're going to go with the Darkseer. Very nice combo with the Vacuum and the Call Down combination. Just being tremendous for team fight. But so far, their lanes looking maybe a little bit more shaky than Absolute Legends.
Yeah, getting the Darkseer is a plus. I felt like Absolute Legends probably would have wanted that. It's good for both, but I'm surprised that they did favor the Shadow Demon as their first support. Is there any reason why you can think to just having that Shadow Demon there? Obviously, it can turn fights in a big way.
Yeah.
It can save your carry. It can also set up. But I felt that Absolute Legends were going to go a bit more probably defensive versus Roxkiss, just seeing how they play, because now Roxkiss get their Clockwork, a very aggressive initiation hero. They've got a very good off lane who will definitely get his gold. You know, so Clockwork doesn't necessarily need to get a mech or something now. You know, Darkseer should be able to finish off the mech, and then they're just looking for 2 good supports for Gyrocopter. And even though Shadow Demon's picked, so they're going to be able to ban some, they'll still be pretty happy with Roxkiss with this lineup. I feel more so than Absolute Legends. And Absolute Legends look like they want to man up.
Yeah, they do.
With the redhead lady, they want to go for the Shadow Demon Lina combo. Lina's great on the lane with Lifestealer. Open wounds into stun. Also, you've got Shadow Demon there just in case anything goes wrong, and they can work together, Shadow Demon and Lina, amazingly on roaming. So this is a very aggressive lineup from Absolute Legends.
The thing is, I think this is actually not the best position for Ale, just because you've already shown your cards, you've shown the intent that you want, at the very least, to have supports who can move around the map, like you said. So for Roxkiss, they have options here. They can put the Darkseer mid. They could put the Darkseer in the offlane. They could put Clockwork mid. They could put heroes mid that are actually pretty difficult to gank. So say, for instance, Absolute Legends, they want to safe lane the Lifestealer. They don't want anything to do with potentially a Clockwork and a Gyrocopter lane that we saw earlier that absolutely crushed the Lifestealer lane. They want to avoid that, right? So now Roxkiss have the opportunity to pick a mid that those supports can't kill. Maybe they want to go for something like a Puck, just because Roxkiss has already shown great flexibility and how they can actually go into the laning phase. So AL, I don't think that their heroes are weak by any stretch, but I do feel like Roxkiss right now, I mean, you think of the Cogs, you think of Vacuum, Call Down, massive AoE team fight coming out from them, and AL don't really have a response other than we can get picks.
Yeah, and it's I think a Weaver ban out and the Nature's Prophet ban out were 2 of my most important for Rox KIS. That Weaver, could have been just brilliant in terms of disrupting team fights, and I think Nature's Prophet was something that they maybe wanted on Absolute Legends. They're going to take out Keeper of the Light, and as you mentioned, the Bane, which is very important. We've seen Roxkiss play that very, very well. So they have 1 more ban out, and they're going to be looking still for supports. Any support that you feel would still work well. We've still got a Rubik in there, but
A Leshrac would do really nicely for Rock's Kiss if you want to try to take that away from him. That's like the AoE hero, you know, every single
that's pretty
ability he
cool.
has is AoE, and if you get something nice into a vacuum cog, Split Earth is incredibly easy to land. There are other options too, like Skywrath actually does quite well with Clockwork on the same team, but they're going to take away the Rubik, and Rubik is obviously a very defensive support, and if they're expecting Rock's Kiss to run a defensive tri-lane and giving them a Rubik too, if Absolute Legends had any intention of trying to contest that, giving him a Rubik would have been an absolute nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, and that Leshrac now being left up, we'll see if Rock's Kiss are going to want to go for it. I think it's a good option as well in terms of the push potential. Supports, I normally feel really safe as a support player playing with a Dark Zero and a Clockwork.
Yeah.
You get a lot of room in the team fights, and removing that Magnus allows that even more so to your team, because there isn't a huge, there's no big initiator right now for Absolute Legends, so we'll see what they're going to go for Rock's Kiss, and I agree, something like a Shrek could really work out, but they are looking for their supports. But you could potentially also put Clockwork mid.
Yeah.
Or people have done that, and also you can still have Darkseer mid if you want, and then put Clockwork off lane. So and it's just going to be a very safe in terms of safe stun, and it is going to be the Vengeful Spirit. So
I kind of like this choice, though. If you think about it, right now, Absolute Legends, they're kind of all in on one target, kind of a style. Like, if they don't get that kill, say they open wounds, they light strike array, somebody gets swapped, well, then your follow-up is basically non-existent. Of course, they pick a puck now to alleviate that somewhat, so now they're going to have that hero who can actually force the team fights. But my question is, you're looking at the lineup of Absolute Legends. They have limited AoE, to say the least, up against very, very beefy heroes like the Clockwork, the Darkseer, Gyrocopter, even to an extent. He's going to rush his PKB, and then Venge to swap people out of fights. I'm thinking to myself, how does Absolute Legends lineup find a great opening against Rock's Kiss?
I would like to see Absolute Legends pick up an Alchemist and just go offensive tri-lane puck mid and an Alchemist farm, just so you bring a hero into the game that is going to make a huge impact. Because I don't think I don't see Vengeful Spirit moving much from the Gyrocopter and what should be a defensive tri-lane. So playing a little bit greedy and getting something that also combos well in terms of just tankiness ability at the front line with Lifestealer could be a nice factor. I mean, you've got single target kill potential right now with a nice puck to set up an initiation, and it's going to be a Juggernaut pick. So
Juggernaut is something that really complements Rock's Kiss style, and especially their team in this case, because say, for instance, you look at their team push isn't that strong. They have Vengeful Spirit aura, they have basically nice lane pushing, but they don't necessarily have great tower killing. So now they have the healing ward to keep their push going however long they need it to. They have great initiators, and AL, they're going to go with the anti-mage. So this is a really nice choice for me, personally. There is one real hard lockdown on the side of Rock's Kiss, and that's, of course, that magic missile. You can get hookshot, I suppose, and a homing missile, but Unicorn's not going to care about that if he has blink, and he'll be able to stay mobile in these fights. Finding his targets, though, is going to be a little more difficult. I think he's going to be hard-pressed to do any offensive blinking in this game.
yeah, and it's a good pickup. I mean, I thought the Alchemist just because of the amount of farm and kind of the HP it's going to bring, but you can also look at the Lifestealer and the Anti-Mage combo being able to have the Lifestealer and the Anti-Mage, and then they start the fight, and the Anti-Mage should be able to get the farm and safely. So let's introduce the teams. We're already at the top, and at the top from left to right, it is going to be playing the Gyrocopter, BZZ is. On the Darkseer, going to be Dread. On the Juggernaut solo, Vengeful Spirit, played by Vanscore, who played the Rubik of last match that got him here, that won our MVP. And on the Clockwork will be Yol.
And then, of course, for the side of Absolute Legends, we're going to have Mania playing on that Lifestealer, the puck. Going to be played by McGill.
Oh,
and it looks like, we're going to have a 5-on-5, it looks like, or both teams kind of just looking at each other. Honestly, if I was AL, I would not want to fight this. Level 1 spin, very, very powerful. Same with Rocket Barrage. One bad cog, and the fight's pretty much over. So they scouted it out. They're like, yep, we want Unicorn to pretty much get farm. I seriously doubt AL are looking to aggressively tri-lane here. But of course, the rest of the lineup, we got to see Rise on the Shadow Demon, and finally Miracle going to be playing on that Lina.
And Dread looks like he's going to be heading to the offlane. Could be solo.
Yeah, he will
going
be.
mid, yeah. And I think that was up on the board as well, so Wepaz and Bruno called that one. And they're actually going to find Yol on the Clockwork mid. Not sure they're going to be able to get anything done. with Cogs available and also his team backing him up. And
They're even trying to save the regen, but Rise actually changed the image targets to kill it, just to not give him a little bit of extra HP. So all in all, not really much exchange going on. But I do want to mention really quickly, this 1 versus 1 matchup bottom, it's going to be an anti-mage taking out a Darkseer. This is actually a little annoying for the Darkseer, because Unicorn can put 1 point into his spell shield, of course, 1 point into mana break, and just start attacking you. And especially before you hit level 2. He actually gets it before even blink. So you really can see the fact that he wants to force Dread into a defensive position. The downside is he's still going to be losing a pretty good chunk of health, even with that pooled regeneration.
Yeah, he's been pulled, as you mentioned, some regen. So he's got a second set of tangos. Mid, a Blade Fury goes off. How do you fancy the Miguel on Puck versus Solo on Juggernaut mid?
Solo's going to do just fine here. He's going for the Bottle Rush. He has actually already got it. They do this every time they pick Juggernaut mid. They don't let him buy any regeneration on his own. They pool him a salve. He buys 3 branches, and then he gets his bottle within like the first 2 or 3 creeps. So it just allows him to spam Healing Ward forever. Juggernaut is actually great at lane pushing too. Once he gets level 2 spin especially, it almost insta-kills the entire wave, so his rune control is not going to be too bad. And of course, top lane, it's a tri-lane versus tri-lane. And AL here, they're the ones who really have to outplay. They're the ones who have to make the proper movement. Otherwise, the Clockwork Cogs are just going to halt any aggression that they could want to bring here.
Yeah, we'll see if they're able to catch anyone off. AL, this is the first time we've seen them play today as well. So they played yesterday. They got 1 win, 1 loss, as opposed to Roxkiss that got 1 loss and then 1 win today. And Roxkiss, as you all know, did lose to Absolute Legends in a 2-1 scoreline. Miracle looking to still, and actually think he might have got the last hit. No, he didn't. He went to the gyrocopter. Also, we checked this down bottom. Dread, as you can see, doing what Darkseers do behind the tier 1 tower, between the tier 2, just picking up some farm, and already a whole set of tangos from Unicorn has been depleted, as he has to kind of just blink around and dodge some of that damage.
Dread's playing this really well. He's completely avoided any direct confrontation with Unicorn, because if you trade those hits, the Darkseer is really not going to get the better of that exchange. As soon as he gets the Soul Ring, he can be comfortable with it, but yeah.
Yeah, Soul Ring's on its way down, so he's just picked up that. So where do you think this game's going to go? Like the big factors for you, if you can point them out, what people should be rooting for their team to do if they're a supporter of either one, what are they trying to achieve? Is it just the top lane going in favor of AL? Or what are Roxkiss looking to do?
Well, after AL saw the picks of Roxkiss, the AM was a pretty obvious choice, and just thinking on paper, the AM could potentially farm easy in a 1 versus 1 against Dread and the Darkseer, but he is still being pressured a little bit. We can see the overall hero level. He's maintaining a pretty good level of experience per minute. He's sitting at level 4 right now. His farm is going to be pretty much the most important part. AL's tri-lane, just because of the heroes that they have, is going to have a very hard time succeeding against Roxkiss just because of that Clockwork pick. So for AL, it's not so much their tri-lane succeeding as it is just not giving anything away for free.
And we do check the last hits on Mania, playing the Lifestealer. He's currently 9-1. Up against a Gyrocopter on BZZ that's had a great time on that Gyrocopter, picking up like 3 First Bloods in the tournament thus far. He's actually only just ahead, or he's actually behind now, 11-2. So very even on the top lane, and it seems to be all squared up, and both these teams just not playing too risky, trying to just play the game out as it's maybe meant to be played, and if the situation arises, they'll be sure to take advantage of it. But no one's creating anything too big right now. Migo just going to actually go to top rune before it spawned. Will actually pick up an illusion rune, and he's going to be happy with that. And I think Solo's running bottom blind. He's got a ward top, so I'm not sure why he's heading down there. But he maybe didn't see that it was
top lane.
Top. Wow.
This flat cannon. The missile's going to be there. I don't think it's actually going to get to him though. Yeah, it turns around, gets the extra 25 gold, but that's the reason why AL are just inherently at this disadvantage, because how does AL's tri-lane actually engage a fight? They have to pretty much go on the Clockwork, which is like the worst possible target, but if they don't go on the Clockwork, there's no follow-up damage. Like Mania has to be able to hit who they go on. Disruption's going to be there, Yo with the Cogs, but BZZ's actually outside. The Open Woods is going to be there. Really bad positioning on the Cogs right here. Mania will end up securing the First Blood Rise. Might be dropping 2. It looks like he will do so. So it was a 1-for-1 exchange, but those Cogs, they needed to be a little bit farther to the right there.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's, it's the burst damage that they can put out potentially on the gyrocopter if he's out of position and doesn't get back up, because you're not going to get your life stealer potentially on the target. Maybe with Incogs you could, but it would be too dangerous and the life stealer go down. So they took the opportunity, picked up BZZ, and they will get first blood, but I believe it was Yo on the clockwork will get a return kill as well. But overall, pretty good exchange for AL.
That was way more than they could have hoped for. There was pretty much no way. Oh man, Solo in big trouble. Oh man, is he actually going to die here? There are creeps attacking Miguel. Solo is just taking no damage. He one charges and will have 30. Got an uphill miss too. Oh man, talk about good luck. The Dream Coil was there. The Waning Rift, not quite enough.
Yeah, and he had no stout shield as well, so he was taking a huge amount of damage just from the harass that was looking to get a kill. Miguel going to be bottle crowing. We'll bring him back a bottle, and also the rune's going to be spawning in just under 10 seconds, so Miguel's going to be very happy with that exchange, even if he didn't get the kill.
Yeah.
He's going to retain some level advantage, he's going to get the next rune. His Dream Coil was obviously down, so he probably won't be able to make anything happen on lane, but when the Juggernaut of Solo comes back, he's going to have a tougher time.
Well, the one nice thing about Juggernaut is that even if he doesn't get a lot of farm, because Roxkiss love putting him in this middle position, is that he's going to have his Omni level 2 much, much faster than even a carry Juggernaut would, because sometimes you have to split the experience with your supports. But in this stage, he's going to be able to get level 11. Maybe he wants to rush the Aghanims again. I don't think it would be as good of a choice as it was before, because you have heroes like Anti-Mage who can blink, you have Puck, and you have Disruption. So there's multiple ways to avoid it this time. But if you want to just get tankier, be able to walk into the enemy team and cause some havoc, it still could be a viable choice.
So I want to go to bottom lane and just ask your opinion on this matchup and how it's gone. We do have a Ring of Health on the Anti-Mage, played by Unicorn. Dread has picked up his Soul Ring a little while ago, and if you look at the CS, Dread is a clear, he's obviously when you go behind the tier 1, you're pretty much getting everything.
Yeah.
But he's ahead and clearly ahead. But now with that Ring of Health, is Unicorn just going to bounce back, being able to tank some damage? How do you think this is going to go?
Well, the fact of the matter is, Unicorn needed to have a big impact in the lane pretty much before Dread hit level 2. Like, if you're going to put a point into Mana Break at level 1 just to be able to harass the mana pool of Dread, then you have to actually do it. And in order to do that, you'd have to sacrifice some creep kills. But at the end of the day, if you're losing CS at the beginning, then later on when Dread doesn't have mana to do anything, you're maintaining your CS back because you can't creep cut anymore. But as soon as he gets Surge, the AM can't really do anything about it anymore. So Dread has just played it well. He knew exactly what he had to accomplish. He's going to maintain a high level of farm pretty much no matter what. The Puck could come down there and try to gank him. Yeah, top looking for a gank, but unfortunately not going to find it. But the bottom lane definitely going in favor of Roxkiss.
Yeah, and should mention as well, Miguel, we thought he was going to be able to get the rune. He actually went to solo on who got himself a regen. He's also level 6, and he's heading towards top. Now, they will spot him out, Absolute Legends, with the ward, and they're just going to back out. And they should be safe if they get away from this rocket and under tower, and that will be Solo's sign to go back towards the mid lane. Miguel has actually had a TP for a little while. I think he's not flying it over to himself. He's just going to bottle crow, but he wants that TP now because he knows that the lanes, especially top lane, could have some influence coming in from Solo, or potentially even the Darkseer. And as a Puck, when you've got your ultimate available, the Dream Call, he's going to want to bring himself that TP back with the bottle. And mid, Solo actually heading down towards bottom. Dread has been putting just some pushing power with his Iron Shell on the lane.
Solo really wants this kill. Actually, he's going to turn around. I thought he might go for it because he had vision of Unicorn, but they decide not to. And top lane starting to actually go in favor of Roxkiss. Even though they gave away that kill, the Gyrocopter is starting to farm a little bit more now. And when BZZ hits 6, that's when the problems are really going to start, because then the Clockwork can start playing a bit more aggressive. He's actually very close to that level 6 right now. You just throw out a cog, free call down pretty much every single time, and there's nothing that these supports can really do outside of one disruption to try to save him. Bottom lane though, tier 1, quite low. Miracle teleports in to try to get a kill on Dread here. The stun is going to be way off the mark, and Dread should be able to walk away, but I'm pretty sure that tower is not going to be long for this world. They're going to continue trying to apply some pressure, and the tower is within the night range.
Yeah. And actually, Solo going to make his way just over the river, looking to put some harass down. Miracle has to be really careful in this situation. Dread's going to go in, and Dread could get the worst of this. He is going to be able to get away, and in comes Solo, and here comes the Omni Slash on Miracle. 2 hits will get the kill. He's got a healing ward up as well. Unicorn will take that down, and Unicorn will just go back to his tower, and that tower is going to be tried to get a deny on. Dread knows it's low. Unicorn, nice bit of damage. Solo will come in, and Unicorn will get the deny, but Meagle's here with that TP. Dream Coil not used.
It was a really nice turnaround. They're going to use the coil just for the free kill. Getting the deny by Unicorn, very, very nice timing right there on the last hit. So taking away basically the benefit of having a Darkseer and getting that very early tower. They don't get the gold, but they do get the gold for the tier 1 and the top lane. And this is to be expected. The tri-lane of Rock's Kiss just starting to pull more and more ahead. 41 CS on the Gyrocopter. Mania sitting at just 25.
So, big impact players, because now that bottom tower's gone down, Unicorn, his farming should still be pretty safe, but the fact is the top tier 1 tower's gone down, that Rock's Kiss could start moving a little bit more. I mean, we already saw him, bring at least the Juggernaut down solo, but where do you think Rock's Kiss want to lean on Absolute Legends in this situation?
It's got to be Unicorn now. He's the one that you have to prioritize the most. You have the potential to kill him. He only has 700 health. Sure, he's got a point into that spell shield and level 3 blink, but if you have the Vengeful Spirit down there, you land a good stun, you manage to get an Omni in a decent position, you're also getting vision from that Howl of Terror from the Vengeful Spirit, so even if he blinks into the woods, you could still potentially find him. So I feel like AL know that. They're rotating their supports down just to protect Unicorn because they've already lost their tier 1 in the top lane, so they know that Mania can just stop farm it if he wants to, but he actually decided to push and just collapsed into the jungle. So for Rock's Kiss, it's try to apply pressure, keep Unicorn from just freely farming the best you can, try to get BZZ his farm, and let Solo pretty much do as many aggressive plays as he needs to.
One thing that the team of AL have going for him in a big way, I think, is Miguel on that puck. Very close to Blink Dagger. Once he gets that, the team fight potential is just going to be there. Obviously, they might not need to bring in the anti-mage. Yeah, sometimes you just don't. You want to play that 4-on-1 role when you just have an anti-mage that really needs farm, but they will be able to get some nice initiations and also some pressure. Another thing for AL that we should mention, based off how the tri-lane went for him, despite starting pretty well, is their supports not doing so well on levels. We've still got a level 4 Lina played by Miracle. So, and as we now see, Rox KIS looking to put some pressure on the tier 1 mid, their last tier 1 to take down. And already Miracle's here on the Lina and Rise on the Shadow Demon, so I think the defense will be fine.
Well, they do also have Hookshot on the Clockwork, and AL really need to be careful about this. The Healing Ward was already dropped, so they are really fully committing to this. This is a 5-hero push at the 11-minute mark. Miguel is here, and he does have the Dream Coil, but I don't know if he has enough damage on his own. We talked about the lack of AoE on the side of AL, and they're just going to pretty much punish that. Just walking in, they have the Healing Ward down. There is really no way that AL can take this fight unless they get a brilliant initiation by Miguel. The Glyph is already popped. It's actually going to go on cooldown, and we hear Hookshot. It's actually going to be on Miguel. He's going to be forced back. He can't really get the Dream Coil that he's looking for. The cooldown actually doesn't really do much of anything. Kind of just whiffs, but at the very least, Rock's Kiss have forced AL back far enough to potentially get this tower. There's going to be a TP in. It's going to be Mania. Actually cancels instead. Solo, though, taking a lot of damage. The Soul Catcher is there. Can't even get the Omni. The cogs from Yol and the defensive posturing, but it just simply doesn't matter. They get the tower, but they give away Solo in the process.
Yeah, that's typical Rock's Kiss, pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
It's high risk, but it went in their favor. I think they were kind of surprised just about how much mana Miguel ended up getting back from his bottle. Miguel has now finished his Blink Dagger, so that's very important to notice. We can also go check BZZ, who's now mid lane with a haste rune that he's picked up. He's got his Phase Boots drums build, so looking just to be pretty fast in his Gyrocopter. Mania, in the meanwhile, just going to go into last hits. He's caught up a little bit. He's 47 and 2, so not doing too well, but going towards his drums as well, that he's almost finished. But the whole time Unicorn was able to farm, and so you can see on Unicorn, on bottom on the anti-mage, he's finished his Claymore. So still a little bit away. I think people would like to get a Battle Fury around, what, I guess 15 minutes or so?
Yeah, I mean, given his circumstances, 15 minutes would be fine for timing. I don't think he's even going to get it that fast. He still doesn't even have enough money to finish the Perseverance, and of course he needs another 1,200 after that. But for Rock's Kiss, this was a step in shutting him down, basically. Like, yeah, they didn't directly go to his lane to try to kill him, but at the same time, they're removing map control, and sooner or later, AL are going to get to this point where they actually have to defend at tier 2s, and that's when Unicorn doesn't have the luxury of split pushing that freely. Sure, he can get his Battle Fury, he can do that, but he's going to have to fight, because Rock's Kiss have this very potent 5 versus 5 matchup, and Solo cancel casting his Omni there, realizing that it was a puck, and it wouldn't get a kill. But all in all, Rock's Kiss going to stop him farming by just virtue of full map control.
Now, Dread on the Darkseer hasn't actually got any points in Wall of Replica at level 9. He's actually gone for 3 in vacuum. So they're not going to have a wall for this. It's, you know, it's obviously, you know, you don't really go for wall of replica at level 6 anyway, but sometimes I consider, yeah, level 9, 10, you might want to go for it. So it looks like it's going to be a 10 and 11 build.
Oh,
and it's
smoke
going to
up.
put pressure.
They get the demonic purge off. Soul Catcher's going to be there, gets surge, but still gets hit by the light striker. Ray, nice swap coming out of Vanscore, saves him a little bit of follow-up damage. Mech is already popped solo. He's going to be silenced out. He's looking for a solo Omni. He will be able to find Miracle that drops, and Rise as well. Make it Miggle. It's a 3-for-0 exchange. Mania now stuck behind his own tower at the tier 2. Simply can't do anything about it, and he will also go the way of the rest of his teammates. So double kill goes to BZZ, and like I was saying, they have to try to defend this, but they have an Anti-Mage who simply cannot fight. He doesn't have the amount of HP that he needs to be able to be influential in these fights.
Yeah, and just to kind of top that off for Rock's Kiss, they did actually just TP bottom, get a deny on the tower that stood on 19 health, and Unicorn wasn't able to get the last hit on it. So Unicorn still getting closer to finish off his Battle Fury, but the map is getting smaller. This is the story for Absolute Legends. The map for Unicorn to be able to farm safely is getting smaller. Rock's Kiss are taking advantage of the items that they have. Having that mech on the Dark Seer nice and early played by Dread, they're able to just get these towers down. With what you said as well, it wasn't a great lineup for being able to push the towers, but they put that Juggernaut in with the healing ward, and it's really worked out well. Now they're going to be rewarded for their efforts with a Roshan. That's going to be go on BZZ playing the Gyrocopter, and it's falling into place for Rock's Kiss. I'm not sure where Absolute Legends come into this as to be able to make something happen, because the big problem with the Anti-Mage, even if you get his Battle Fury and some of his farm, if your team isn't strong, you are so singled out. It's like you go in like, I am strong, but your team's not strong and it hurts. That's why like a Magnus, the fact that Rock's Kiss banned that Magnus, that's a great combo hero with the Anti-Mage when he has a Battle Fury. But he's got a puck. That's what he's got. He's relying on that puck. Maybe the Lifestealer will be able to offer something, but he's not doing too well. The Lifestealer played by Mania. He hasn't even finished his drums, I think. But they are going to go on BZZ.
And they get engaged on here. Hookshot as well. It's going to be on Rise. Stuck in the cogs. The Light Striker Ray is going to be there. Does a bit of damage to Yul. He gets Laguna Bladed as well. Even with a Soul Catcher, he's still not quite down. Unicorn low on health as well. He wants to go for the kill, but it's a little bit too risky, so he decides to retreat. BZZ in the meantime picks off Rise on that Shadow Demon Miracle. Going to try to TP out. Solo comes up to the high ground with that invisibility. The Rocket Barrage from BZZ not going to be enough to secure it. So 3-7, and Rock's Kiss get a support kill basically. Not really the best exchange in the world. Solo in the meantime looking for a potential solo kill here. He might be able to find Mania. He's walking away from the creep wave. I'm not sure if he saw him actually. He might just be trying to go for Unicorn. No, he's just going to come out, say, hey, how's it going? Unicorn blinks to the high ground and he'll be just fine.
Yeah, he stopped Unicorn's farm. I actually felt that Unicorn could have got a kill on Clockwork, played by Yul there. I'm surprised that he didn't want to go in and mana void him. It seemed like it could have been an option. But again, he might have had to walk back uphill. He wasn't sure where all the members of Rock's Kiss were. So how did you fancy the exchange for both teams?
Well, Rock's Kiss clearly came out ahead there. I mean, they didn't lose anything. So anytime you could take a fight, you get a support kill. Actually, I think almost got 2. The Lena managed to TP out. But the thing is, this is Rock's Kiss game plan the entire time. And like you mentioned earlier, it's a brilliant point that no mag, there's no real giant impact hero on the side of AL, because Puck, as great of an initiator as he is, he actually needs a lot of follow-up to really secure those kills. And Rock's Kiss, they're going to be able to get this tier 2 bottom. They will probably end up sacrificing the tier 1 mid, as it does end up dropping in favor of AL, but they're content with that. Like, losing their mid tier 1 when your opponent has 1 outer tier tower left, not the biggest problem for you.
I'm going to have to see where Unicorn on the Anti-Mage
Oh, Solo.
is gonna go.
He's going to find Miracle, level 2 Omni Slash. Just gets a free kill inside of the rivers. So Solo, he picked up a point booster, by the way, but he is also working towards drums. So he's got this kind of tanky Juggernaut style where he gets his quick 11. He goes for the Aghanim's top lane. They want to go on him. Nice double coil. Vanscore and BZZ both in a bit of trouble. They're going for Vanscore instead. The swap is going to be there. Mania can't quite finish it off just yet. Is BZZ going to be able to live through it? The Aegis will eventually be popped into demonic purge damage, and 1 auto for Mania, just simply not enough to finish off that Vengeful Spirit Rise. In the meantime, running away from a full creep wave. The Rocket is going to be there from Clockwork. He is so blocked by those creeps right now. He's going to go ahead and surge BZZ in. It should be a free kill. He pops the smoke to try to get away. Maybe he thought the movement speed would be enough to get him to safety, but it doesn't matter.
Well, they removed the Aegis on the other side of the map, which is always good, because sometimes people will take that Aegis and actually just go push the tier 2 tower, and you're like, well, if we engage and kill him, we're still going to get a team wipe. So the fact is, a small skirmish sometimes to remove an Aegis is actually quite optimal, but I think it cost them a kill too much. And they didn't need to lose their support for that. And actually Miguel playing the puck had to back off. So they should be able to defend this. I would like to see AL get into position to do something here. They have Laguna Blade up, but the damage output already on this tower is pretty damn high. And it looks like, well, they're just going to try and do another exchange. And they had Unicorn pushing bottom. He's going to back off. Now, I want to talk about Unicorn and his items that he needs to be strong in this fight. I have a feeling that BKB is an item that I would love to see, but it's not an item that you really want to pick up this early on an anti-mage. You want, you know, like a Manta style or something that really helps with damage and confusion, but I feel that that BKB now might be somewhat essential. Obviously it doesn't help you against the Juggernaut solo, but if they could, the map's so small now, I don't think they can hold out long enough to get this AL fat. I think they need to think about what item does he now need on Unicorn to be able to participate in a team fight. And you need to be able to participate, and that's what a BKB allows you to do.
Yeah.
So any item choice for you that you think he should go for?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like BKB, probably the first choice, but he is going to go for the Manta. The thing is this, when you're in a position where you're starting to think to yourself, I need more items than what I can feasibly get, that just says to me that they were being greedy with their lineup and they weren't able to accomplish a whole lot during the laning phase. Because if you find yourself where you're like, man, I need like 10,000 gold to try to fight this team, then your draft in your laning phase just hasn't gone favorably for you. So he's going to go for the Manta. It's the more aggressive choice, but he needs to be an impact in a fight in more than just tankiness. He needs to be able to do enough damage to become a threat. Because if he just pops a BKB and he doesn't have a Manta, then he's a lot less threatening to even the supports of Rock's Kiss. So it's kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place for him.
Top lane.
Oh yeah, free kill.
Find himself a Omni slash kill.
These poor Lenas, man. First it was, I want to say, Mitch playing Lena, and now it's Miracle. So 2 people playing on Lena, 2 people with the name starting with M, and 2 people getting Omni'd solo over and over again.
Now, I actually think AL did a big favor to Unicorn by removing that Aegis top lane. Just because now the pushing tower on tier 2 they got, sure, but they probably are not going to feel safe going into tier 3 at this early stage. It's only 21 minutes in. Your team isn't huge in terms of what it can necessarily do in terms of pushing the base right now. So it will take a while, and you're still up against a Puck who is very good on the defense. Going to top lane though, we're going to look at Solo, just get away from Mania. And actually Miguel is going to have his life stealer inside of him, and they're going to come out. Can they get Solo down? BKB popped on BZZ. Huge amount of damage onto Mania, but Rise will pull him into a disruption. He's going to get away for just a moment. Solo though still lives on and will get the last kill on that. So very disappointing, unfortunate. Miguel once again is going to live. Last team fight up top as well. It was the same 2 that went down. He's going to go back in to try and get the kill on Solo. Oh no, not able to do so. And wow, Solo living life on the edge here for Rock's Kiss.
Not only that, but after that exchange, he now has his full Aghanims, and now he's level 14, working his way towards that level 3 Omni. And Scythe of Vice picked up on Dread at just 22 minutes in. He's got a mech and a Hex at 22 minutes as the offlane Darkseer. You want to talk about a lack of pressure on an offlane? It doesn't get much worse than this, and they're going to hookshot right onto Miracle. They want to try to go for the kill, but no real follow-up, so he's going to be happy about that. But Rock's Kiss, they have the healing ward once again. They can sit here, they can slow siege, they can do pretty much whatever they want. The Hex is going to go on to Rise. Maybe they didn't know he had it. Vacuum back. Cooldown's going to be there from BZZ, and Rise just simply not going to be able to live through this damage. BZZ aggressively going in. The homing missile should be able to get the kill. Swap back on BZZ as he does end up securing Rise. So Rock's Kiss, this game has been pretty much all them. Omni onto Mania, so many attacks. Miguel goes in to eat an extra hit, pops the wand. It's going to be enough to let Mania live through that damage. The Rack's now fully exposed. There is no more glyph on the side of AL. They need to find a way to actually push the team of Rock's Kiss out of the base, and I'm not sure if they can do it.
No, they're happy. It seems, well, they're probably not happy AL to sack Rax, but they're happy just to get Unicorn farming. If they had Unicorn here, with his Manta start a little bit earlier, they probably would have used the Dream Call on Miguel, and possibly, I believe, they could have wiped the team of Rock's Kiss, but Rock's Kiss are going to come back in, and there comes the Hex on Unicorn, and all his hard work is going to last only a few seconds, as he does get away, but will get killed by BZZ's rocket. That's an alliance move.
Yeah. It
Look
was
out of base, smoke up. That's wow. If they didn't get that move, this game would have stretched on for a bit longer and Unicorn could have been dangerous, but if they could take even just this tower, it's going to be huge for the next team fight.
We're going to see a swap onto Miracle. Good night, Lena. 3-man coil coming out of Miguel. And your hookshot go off. It's going to be Yul trying to go on Miguel himself. Mania, in the meantime, ends up dropping to Vanscore. There's going to be a Cog, and Miguel just simply can't stand to the team that is Rock's Kiss. This style that they run, this incredibly tanky front line, backed up by a healing ward, I gotta say, man, you need to start banning Juggernaut against this team, because they abuse it so unbelievably well that even if they can't get their hands on something like the Beastmaster, the Clockwork, that they actually like quite a bit too, the Juggernaut makes this composition as hard as it is to stop.
Yeah, it's been essential to their team. If they didn't have that Juggernaut turning up to the majority of the towers that they were pushing, and especially now, just recently base, nothing probably good would have come of it, just because of the puck would have been so prominent in terms of being able to counter-initiate. But Dread, man, this guy, getting the Cypher Vice this early on, I'm just going to check his kill-death ratio. Dread currently just 1-0-10, just casually, you know,
team player, man.
In most of the fights and not dying yet. He's played an absolutely great game, and this could have got really scary for Rock's Kiss, because the Gyrocopter didn't have a lot going for him. He's only now after killing all the... Oh, we actually have a fight as Jesus Solo is going to pick up another kill.
That poor Lena, just every single time Solo manages to find him off on his own, I feel for him, but it's going to be Roshan here by Rock's Kiss.
You know, Solo's found about 3 invisibility runes so far this game. He's been so happy with that. He's been able to scout out perfectly. Yeah, but BZZ, potentially you still call it the main damage dealer, Gyrocopter, despite Juggernaut's doing great. He wasn't a big threat coming into the base. He had his BKB and he had his Helm of the Dominator. After taking down just 2 racks and the 2 tier 3 towers, he's now become rich enough to start his Butterfly. So before that, the Anti-Mage and the team of Absolute Legends, if they were able to defend its 5, could have defended.
Yeah.
They could have. They could have been so different. But Rock's Kiss, so smart to make the moves when they did and just take their advantage and just catch their opponents off guard. That's what it is. Like, Rock's Kiss are one step ahead this game. They are picking AL apart.
I love their draft too. Just, if you think about what AL tried to do, it was very reminiscent of what used to happen like 6-7 months ago when people were running the 4 kind of aggressive heroes, get the attention of your opponents and buy time for Unicorn. But what ended up happening is they got outlaned pretty hard. But hold on, we're going to see one more fight. Looks like AL want to play the aggressors here. Mania hexed out all by himself. The cooldown's going to be there, not even necessary. BKB is popped by BZZ, and the rest of AL is forced to retreat. Miracle lives with a sliver of health, sitting at just 10 hit points. And I dare say this is going to be the end of Game 1, so y'all walking in, a very spiky Clockwork at that, and Unicorn just simply cannot do anything about this. The problem with the strategy that AL put together is if you're going to run an aggressive tri-lane, that literally has to win. That lane had to win, otherwise the AM was never going to have any breathing room. And like I was saying during the mid-game, Rock's Kiss' only goal was to just out-farm Unicorn and stop him from getting farm, and that was a very nice combo, and the GG well played comes out. But for me, Rock's Kiss, better draft, better lanes, better play. Like, they had him beat everywhere.
Yeah, 24-3.
Yeah.
Maybe doesn't say it all, but certainly says how convincing it was. And AL just unable to kind of play that 4+ tower versus 5, which they really needed to do successfully with that AM not being ready to be involved in the fights. And yeah, credit to Rock's Kiss. Not only did they play it well, they also drafted well. And I think that's a big story with them. So it's Absolute Legends are they gonna take out the Juggernaut? I'd be surprised. But maybe they will look for something that isn't so roamy like the Shadow Demon Lena. They themselves could have had maybe a couple supports that were able to be more tower orientated, know that you need to keep your towers if you've got an AM that needs farm. You need to keep map presence, and the Lena and Shadow Demon didn't do it for Absolute Legends.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's like, if you're going to run that strategy for me, you want ideally like a Keeper of the Light, maybe run a very spammy tri-lane. You know, we used to see things like Earthshaker, Keeper of the Light, +1, just spam the lane as hard as you can. When people start rotating, then you can start sending the Keeper of the Light wherever he needs to be. Send Unicorn to the dangerous position, because the AM is always going to be able to find farm in spots where other heroes simply can't. And that's how the Chinese teams do it, and it works really well, because as you said, if you don't have a map to farm, how the heck are you supposed to come back into the game? So Rock's Kiss take Game 1 pretty darn convincingly, I might add.
And I agree with the Earthshaker. I think that, even in the tri-lane, is so disruptive in terms
Yeah.
of the pathing. You can really mess people up. Like Earthshaker SD is great. And also for the tower defense, Earthshaker really can slow people down a lot more. Obviously, you're probably not going to get your Blink Dagger on it unless the game goes long. But once the game goes long with the AM and the team fights, you could potentially get that if you just win your team fights. But let's see what Bruno and Wepaz have to say about Game 1, where Rock's Kiss now go 1-0 up.
Definitely Van Juggernaut, right? Weapons?
Juggernaut just has such a big impact in these games. I mean, he plays as his healing wards perfectly in every push as well. It's like quite far behind. If you blink on it, you can't dream call the rest of the team because they're like standing behind. It's just like, it's really good position. Solo's been playing it superbly this whole series, or both these series. So, yeah, I don't know.
It's going to be tough. I mean, we saw, as you mentioned, the Juggernaut going Ag Scepter. That's something that you don't see every day.
No, not straight away at least.
But the fact that Solo seemed to be finding so many, and pardon the pun, solo kills all the time, like always catching the supports off guard, always jumping on the right guy. There was a moment here they were trying to push. It was not the time where there were 5 men pushing the mid tower. It was him and someone else. I think Clock was there. He just popped. No, I remember now. It was Gyrocopter here. Gyrocopter pops a missile on Pac. As soon as Pac pops the phase shift to dodge the missile, he just dives into the tower and way ahead just to jump on the Omni Slash on Pac, knowing that Pac cannot jump. Unfortunately, there was just a creep wave coming at the same time, so they just backed out and they kept pushing the tower. But this aggression from Juggernaut, a hero that a matchup mid, I mean, it's not the easiest hero to play against things like Pac. Even like, imagine if you had the Queen of Pain. Of course, you have the spin, which will get you rid of most of the debuffs. But that means that once you use that spin, you will not have it for quite a while. And that's also the ability that makes you push the towers, push the lanes. I'm really impressed about how Solo plays that hero.
He's playing it really well. But one of the biggest things that I feel, we've been seeing it in pretty much every game now, where people pick aggressive tri-lanes. They never rotate with their supports. They just sit in lane with their supports. They lose the tri-lane, and then they just sit there and wait. And then when it's time for 5-on-5 clashes, then they come. But they never try and get ganks going. They never just like try and utilize their good roaming combo. And that's one of the biggest things I feel is missing.
To be fair,
in these
it's really
games.
hard to now roam with this when you have a solo life stealer against this Trident. And this Trident in paper looks quite weak because you don't have range.
Yeah.
Gyrocopter is very short range. Vengeful Spirit, one of the supports without range. And Clockwork, of course, being a melee hero. But the combination of these, I mean, it was very hard for these two supports to just leave High Life Stealer alone. The moment they left him alone, just a call can kill him. Even if he pops rage, something happens.
Life Stealer can go jungle.
Anti-Mage has levels,
Yes.
right? That bot tower fell down from a deny. You can at least consider being able to move the Anti-Mage top as long as the warding's okay. Because all you're really looking to do is dodge a magic missile and also Solo coming up on his Juggernaut.
Yeah.
And if they actually put some pressure as a team without the Anti-Mage on either the tier 1 tower bottom, the Anti-Mage will be freed up top because you have to react to it.
Yeah.
It's so they maybe could have rotated their supports a little bit earlier, just started pulling the lane, knowing that they're going to lose tier 1 tower top. Start pulling their bottom lane, get a little bit of levels and farm, and then they would have because we saw the mid clash, and we mentioned Miracle on Lina level 4. Sure, it's not a big difference between what level you are on Alina, but if you can get level 6, it's huge when you're defending, because if anybody overextends just a tiny bit, especially when you've got Shadow Demon that can just, put the ability so people take more damage, it could have been nice. So maybe they should have considered, maybe leaving the Lifestealer up there and kind of in a really pathetic way, then go to jungle with their supports and then swap the Lifestealer and the Anti-Mage shortly afterwards once the lane was getting pulled, etc.
You just go ahead and swap the Lifestealer. I mean, the Lifestealer doesn't have the worst of times against the Darkseer, just because that Feast will allow him to regain a lot of health that he loses while tanking the Iron Shell. Of course, as the Iron Shell levels up and you get to level 7 and you get 2 Iron Shells hitting you, it becomes harder and harder. But still, the Anti-Mage feels safer here. Once the Anti-Mage is here, of course he will not have the free farm that he wants, but maybe he will free the supports to just make something happen mid, make something happen top, bottom. If you kill the Dark Seer, you suddenly get space there, and then you move from there. Anyways, AL now is 1 game away. Our Cinderella, that was so close, 1 game away.
From
So getting there now is 1 game away from saying bye-bye.
Yeah, that is the story. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to a quick break.
Yes.
Going to allow these guys to just cool off. Obviously, Absolute Legends, if you mentioned, they need to win now 2 in a row. They're at the end, almost at the end of their TI3 tournament. They're one last chance. Every game for them is going to be their last chance. Roxkiss still can drop a game. They only need to win 1 game and they are through. And then we can conclude Group A here at the Dota 2 International Championships. So, a small break. Are you ready for your break? Would you
I'm
want to
ready.
do a break?
Well, I didn't get to finish eating.
Oh, really?
And I gotta go to the bathroom. So it's a necessary
To do
break.
what?
Well, that's where
I
he
got-
keeps his food.
I gotta
Andy.
pee, man.
He hasn't finished eating. He needs to go to the bathroom. He keeps his food in the bathroom.
I just
okay.
digest
Obviously.
really, really fast. Like I just eat and then it's just straight through.
All right.
Great,
So I think we should just leave the audience with that image. See you in a moment.